Alvaro Medran, our next guy, 7. Medran was one of the better players on the Fire. 7 on a bad team. To me, once again, seems a little generous. But 2 goals, 6 assists, maybe a 6 for me, but definitely was one of the better players on the Fire. Diamond in the rough signing, especially the idea. I think that they
The way that
weren't.
we got him.
Yeah, the way that he was brought about, got right as Pana was leaving, and Tyrus
That was
told
such
us.
a weird signing.
Tyrus told us
Such a
in
weird
his
sign.
podcast way back when. Check out that podcast, great show. That they actually wanted to get rid of him after that too. They were ready to get rid of him because of that very reason.
Tell you why. At this point in time, I can tell you why.
Go ahead.
Um, Alvaro failed his initial medical. He had illness or disease that he failed to.
Be careful for HIPAA stuff when not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the specifics. I just know
Good.
he had something that he failed to disclose to the
Oh,
club. And the club found out, and they were trying to actively cut him. But for some reason, they didn't end up doing that. So
wow.
I'm
He
happy
he
for
was a
that. I
really
mean,
weird signing.
yeah,
It was really
yeah.
quiet too. Uh,
I was very sus about Madron coming into the club because of the fact that he had been on like at that point 6 different teams in like 7 different years or something ridiculous like that.
He's a Real
And then
Madrid, right?
yeah, Real
Reject.
Madrid Academy
Youth kid.
product, and that brought a lot of questions in my head regarding work ethic and simply quality of play. But for me, I've been pleasantly surprised with what he's brought to the team. He's shown stints of being one of the top center mids in the league. Obviously that goal against the Houston Dynamo where he ran essentially the whole field was phenomenal. He's got very good technical abilities. He's not an incredible, his defensive work rate is not ideal for a box to box type center mid guy. I would almost like to see him pushed up the field a little bit more so he wouldn't have all that responsibility of coming back. But I think he's definitely better players on the team. I definitely think he's a starter. And he pairs well with, your DP6 right now. And I think that's very important to have that midfield connection that those two provide. And hopefully, whoever's going to fill that third midfield spot, if there's, 3 center mids, will have that same connection with Madron that Gaston does as well.
I remember because Madron was just randomly there at the Soldier Field announcement because I was there. My dad was invited as a original season ticket holder, but I went in his place instead. I skipped school that day. But Madron was just sort of there, and it was really weird. He hadn't signed yet, and I didn't know who this person was hanging out around Pauno. And then I saw some people I think either saying it while I was there or after I'd left. It's like, oh yeah, that's Madron. That's this guy that they're signing, and then looked him up and all that. And I mean, yeah, I agree with what Matt was saying with like the whole before he was signed, just is he gonna be? He's a Real Madrid Academy reject. That doesn't really paint a good picture. I remember the last time we signed a big name reject, which was Florent Cinema Pangole or Sinatra.
Wait a second.
Pogo
What
Stick.
about the Barcelona Academy kid that we had that we drafted and traded
John
to Toronto?
Baccaro?
John Baccaro.
Oh no, that
Was
was
he?
he was. That's a different story.
Wasn't it like
Vaquero
his
was a very
father
different
played for
story.
Barcelona or something?
His
like
father
that?
his father was like a big name Barcelona player for a long time, and that's a whole different story that will take too long to get into,
Yeah.
in my opinion, about Barcelona and the Fire treating Barcelona rejects. But it's just I was hoping that he'd be like okay, and he was. He showed up when he needed to show up finally in his entire career. He finally showed up. And it looked like he was just playing to finally prove, yes, I can play.
Also,
And
no, sorry, go ahead, Jiggly, my bad.
you guys were talking about like how he pairs up with Gimenez. Yeah, you got the 6, you got the 8, and now we just need to find the 10. I think that Madron would work best as an 8.
I'd agree.
And I think that we just
I
need to
also
get that 10.
Madron is also a guy who he's very passionate, emotional. He also really appears to love the city. I think he could be a mainstay in this midfield for the next several years.
If he could
I feel like he eventually will want to get back to Europe. You know, that kind of career rebound or
If
that
he could
career
develop
bounce.
like Valeri developed for Portland and become our captain, that would be great.
Yeah, no, he gets along well with the team. He's a team guy. I love him in that midfield, and I'm looking forward to see what he could do. You know, with a better team around him.
The article suggests that he holds onto the ball just a bit too long, and sometimes too often. One too many touches, but maybe that's just his technical quality. He wants to be on the ball.
Oh, absolutely. Guys with, the quality of dribbling that Madron has often have that, they keep the ball for a couple more seconds. That's just going to be something that he's going to need to figure out, because that's probably a reason why a bunch of clubs, told him to leave after every year was
I can
is
give you the line at which it's wrong to hold on to the ball too long, and that's Katai. Just the guy,
Good tie.
everything. I am still very angry about how many people still liked Katai by the end of his time at the Fire, and now all the other stuff about him and like him having to get cut.
Yep.
But
His wife.
but that whole thing was bad in itself. But like on the pitch, Katai, I didn't like him because he held on to the ball too much. I don't see that in Medran. Medran is fine. Just he's not a black hole.
No.
He is there to make sure to distribute the ball. He just has to think about it for a while, and I think that just comes with being more comfortable. And I hope that he will be more comfortable next season. I hope everyone's going to be more comfortable next season in terms of just the entire world being more comfortable next season.